Roman Kane came to the private airfield to welcome the woman he was supposed to marry. Instead, beneath the rain and burning runway lights, he saw the woman he had destroyed running toward him barefoot, bleeding, and 7 months pregnant. For 8 months, Claire Bennett had lived with the silence of a man who chose his empire over her. Now she was back carrying a sealed bag, a deadly secret, and a child Roman had never known existed. The jet door opened behind him. His future bride stepped into view. A gunshot cracked across the tarmac. In that single moment, Roman had to choose between the alliance that could protect his kingdom and the woman who knew exactly how it had been poisoned from within. Stay until the end, because this is not only a story about betrayal and second chances, it is about what happens when power can no longer hide the truth, like the video and comment where you are watching from. The shot on the runway had shattered more than the silence. Roman carried Claire through the private terminal while rainwater ran from his coat and pooled across the polished floor. Her weight felt wrong in his arms, too light, too fragile, not because she was weak, but because someone had taken months from her body and left the damage behind. Her cheek rested against his chest. One hand remained locked around the leather bag. Claire. Her eyes opened for half a second. Do not let Grant take this. Roman looked down at her. What is in the bag? Proof. Her fingers tightened around the strap. Proof of what? She tried to answer, but pain crossed her face. Her breath caught. Roman shifted his grip as carefully as he could and pushed through the medical suite doors. Dr. Rachel Monroe was already pulling on gloves. Put her on the table. Roman did not move fast enough for Rachel. Now, Roman. He lowered Claire onto the examination bed. The moment his hands left her, Claire grabbed his wrist. Her eyes were glassy, but the fear in them was clear. Do not leave me alone with anyone. Roman looked toward Rachel. Rachel's expression hardened. She knows me. Claire shook her head. I knew a lot of people. The words settled into the room. Roman understood what she meant. Familiarity had stopped being comfort. Every face had become a possible betrayal. He turned toward Noah Reed, who stood at the door with his weapon drawn. No one enters without my approval. Noah nodded. Roman looked back at Claire. I will be outside. She did not release him. Where is Grant? Roman's gaze flicked toward the hallway. He is being watched. That is not the same as being contained. Her voice was weak, but the edge in it was the same one he remembered from long nights over security maps and financial ledgers. Claire had always noticed the gap between what people said and what was actually true. Roman leaned closer. Rachel needs to examine you. Claire's eyes searched his face. 8 months earlier, she had looked at him with the same desperate focus while he stood behind his desk and told her to leave New Jersey. He had not listened then. Now he placed his hand over hers. I will be right outside the door. She released him slowly. Rachel pulled a curtain around the bed. Roman stepped into the hallway and found Noah waiting with fresh information. One shooter is dead, Noah said. The other was alive for less than a minute. He bit through something hidden in his molar. Poison looks that way. Faces nothing in our records. Their maintenance badges were valid. Their entry codes were valid too. Roman looked through the glass wall toward the dark runway. Savannah Whitmore's jet remained outside, surrounded by armed men and emergency vehicles. Its cabin door was open. Savannah had been moved to the west hangar with her attorney and security team. Roman asked who had access to those codes. Noah hesitated. Roman turned toward him. Say it. You, me, Grant. 2 control supervisors, 1 systems engineer. Where are the supervisors? One is in the control tower, the other is missing. The engineer found unconscious in a supply room. Roman's jaw tightened. Noah lowered his voice. The east cameras were shut down from inside the network. Whoever did it knew our blind spots. Roman looked back toward the medical suite. Claire had crossed an open runway while armed men chased her. She had not run toward the hangars, the access road, or the nearest security vehicle. She had run toward him. That fact should have meant something. 8 months ago, it had not. A door opened at the far end of the corridor. Grant Mercer entered with 2 Kane soldiers behind him. He had removed his wet overcoat. His silver hair was still damp, but his expression was calm. Savannah is secure, Grant said. Her attorney is demanding an explanation. Roman watched him approach. Grant had served the Kane family for 22 years. He had stood beside Roman's father before Roman was old enough to understand what power cost. He had taught Roman how to read a room before entering it, how to identify fear, how to recognize when silence was more useful than force. He had also been standing 10 feet away when Claire whispered that the man who destroyed her was close. "Where were you when the lights went out?" Roman asked. Grant stopped, near the second vehicle. "Who was with you?" "One of Noah's men," Noah said. "Which one?" Grant glanced at him. "Davis." Noah's face remained unreadable. "Davis was at the west hangar." A brief pause followed. Grant looked back at Roman. "Then I was mistaken. You are rarely mistaken. Tonight has already provided several unusual circumstances." Roman held his gaze. Grant did not look away. The medical suite door opened. Rachel stepped into the hall. "She is dehydrated. She has a fractured rib, severe bruising, and a shallow bullet wound across her upper arm. The baby's heartbeat is stable, but her body is under too much stress." Roman's eyes moved to the closed door behind her. "How far along?" "Approximately 30 weeks. The number struck harder than the answer Claire had given him. 30 weeks. Roman calculated the dates without meaning to. Rachel saw the change in his face. "Yes," she said quietly. "The timing is possible." Grant looked down the corridor. Noah looked away. Roman ignored them both. "Can I see her for a few minutes? Do not question her like she is one of your soldiers." Roman opened the door. Claire lay beneath a white blanket with an intravenous line taped to her hand. Rachel had cleaned the blood from her face, revealing a dark bruise along her jaw. The leather bag rested on the chair beside the bed. Roman pulled another chair close, but he did not sit beside her. He left several feet between them. Claire opened her eyes. "You are still here. I said I would be. You have said many things." Roman accepted the blow. He looked at her wrist. The skin was ringed with fading purple marks. "Who did that?" Claire followed his gaze and pulled the blanket higher. "Do not do that. Do what turn what happened to me into permission for your anger." Roman's voice dropped. "I asked who hurt you, and I heard the question beneath the question. What question is that? Who do you get to punish?" Roman leaned back slightly. The woman lying in front of him looked exhausted enough to sleep for a year, but she was still protecting the boundaries he had once ignored. He said, "You told me someone inside my house was responsible." Claire looked toward the door. "Is Grant outside?" "Yes." "Then lower your voice." Roman studied her. "You think Grant was involved?" "I think he built the road that led me to Cole Maddox." Roman felt the name like a blade against bone. Cole Maddox controlled a violent South Jersey syndicate that had spent years trying to break Roman's shipping routes. He was reckless in public and patient in private, a combination that made him dangerous. Roman asked, "You were with Maddox. I was held by Maddox. For how long?" 5 months. Roman's hand closed around the arm of the chair. Claire watched him carefully. "Do not ask me for details you only want because they will make your revenge feel justified. I need to know what he did. You need to know what he knows." The correction landed cleanly. Roman looked at the bag. "What does he know enough to help someone destroy your organization?" "Who, Grant?" Roman did not respond. Claire gave a tired, humorless laugh. "You still cannot say it. Grant served my father, and then he served you. He saved my life. So did I." Roman looked at her. She held his gaze. 2 years of shared rooms, midnight phone calls, coded reports, and whispered promises moved silently between them. Roman had trusted her with his security structure, his private schedules, his enemies, and the memories he never allowed anyone else to touch. Then Grant had placed a file on his desk. The file showed Claire's access code attached to copied convoy routes. It showed transfers from a Maddox shell company into an account bearing her name. It showed private messages that appeared to confirm she had sold Roman's movements. 3 Kane soldiers had died in an attack days earlier. Roman had called Claire into his office. She arrived wearing the gray coat he had bought her during their first winter together. He could still see the confusion on her face when he pushed the file across the desk. "This is not mine," she had said. "The access logs say otherwise. They were changed. The bank records, I have never seen that account. The messages, Roman, look at me." He had looked at her. He had decided the pain in her face was guilt. He had decided love was making him weak. "You have 1 hour to leave New Jersey," he had told her. Claire had gone still. "You believe this, I believe evidence. No. You believe whatever makes it easier not to believe me." Roman had stood behind his desk because sitting felt too vulnerable. "If you are still here after 1 hour, I will treat you as an enemy." Claire had stared at him for several seconds. Then she had removed the house key from her ring and set it on top of the file. "I hope one day you understand what you just chose." He had understood the words as a threat. Now, in the medical room, he understood them as grief. Claire looked away from him. "You froze every account I had. You had access to family funds. I had access because you gave it to me. You were under suspicion. You called every family from Boston to Baltimore. You told them that helping me would be treated as an act against you." Roman said nothing. "I tried to reach a federal contact in Philadelphia," Claire continued. "Someone I had worked with before I met you. Cole had already compromised him. How did they take you?" "At a parking garage near Market Street. 2 men in plain clothes, 1 needle. I woke up in a house outside Cherry Hill." Roman's breathing slowed. Claire knew that stillness. It was the way he contained violence. "They thought I had betrayed you," she said. "Cole expected passwords, root codes, account access. When I could not give him what the forged evidence said I had, he realized someone had used me. Why keep you alive?" Claire's hand moved over her stomach. "I found out I was pregnant 6 weeks after you sent me away." Roman's eyes lowered. She watched him realize it. "Is the child mine?" he asked. Claire closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them again, her voice was quiet. "Yes." The room seemed to shrink. Roman stared at her hand, resting over the child he had not known existed. "Why did you not contact me?" Claire's expression hardened. "I had no money, no protection, no safe phone. You had told half the East Coast that I was a traitor. You could have found a way." "I tried to stay alive." Roman flinched. Claire continued before he could speak. "And I would not use a child to purchase the trust you refused to give me." Roman looked down at the floor. For most of his life he had believed remorse was private, something weak men displayed when they wanted forgiveness without paying for damage. Now he felt it moving through him like a physical sickness. "What did Cole do when he found out he became careful? That is not what I asked. It is the answer you need." Claire adjusted herself against the pillow and winced. Cole understood that a pregnant former advisor could become leverage. "He moved me from a locked room into the main house. I ate at his table. I was permitted in the library. I was allowed to walk through the east wing with a guard." Roman's eyes narrowed. "He wanted you comfortable. He wanted me dependent." Claire looked toward the bag. "He believed fear had emptied me out. He believed I would eventually trade information for safety. But you watched him. For 5 months. A trace of the old Claire appeared in her expression. I watched who came through the house. I memorized license plates. I learned which men carried phones and which used handwritten notes. I learned that Cole never trusted electronic records unless someone else printed them first." Roman glanced at the leather bag. "You stole his files. I copied what I could, took the rest when I left. How did you get out during a shift change? One of his guards had a gambling debt. I convinced him I could clear it if he gave me access to the service garage. You paid him, I lied to him." Despite everything, Roman almost smiled. Claire saw it. "Do not look proud." The expression disappeared. "I am not. You are." Roman leaned forward, resting his forearms on his knees. "How did you reach the airfield? I stole a car. Left it 2 miles away. Walked through the woods. 7 months pregnant. I noticed." "Why this airfield?" "Because Cole's files included tonight's arrival schedule." Roman's attention sharpened. "Savannah's arrival?" "Yes. How would Maddox know that that is what I came to tell you?" Claire looked toward the door. "Grant arranged more than your marriage." Roman's voice cooled. "What do you mean the Whitmore alliance was not your idea? I approved it. You approved a choice Grant spent 6 months making inevitable." Roman stood slowly. Claire continued. "He weakened your relationships with the Ferris family and the Lombard Group. He redirected 2 major contracts toward companies connected to Chicago. He made you believe every local alliance was unstable. They were unstable because he was damaging them." Roman looked at her. "You cannot prove that." Claire nodded toward the bag. "Yes, I can." A knock came at the door. Noah entered. "Savannah wants to speak with you." Roman did not move. Noah added, "Her attorney is threatening to call Malcolm." Claire said, "Go." Roman looked at her. "You need rest. I need Grant away from that bag." Roman reached for it. Claire caught the strap. "No." He stopped. "It stays with me. You are injured. And you once trusted the wrong man more than you trusted me." Roman released the bag. "I will send Rachel back in." When he reached the door, Claire spoke again. "Roman." He turned. "Do not confront Grant yet." "Why?" "Because if he believes I gave you everything, he will change the plan." Roman looked at her for several seconds. Then he nodded. The west hangar had been converted into a guarded reception room. Savannah Whitmore sat in a leather chair beside a portable heater. Her cream suit was immaculate despite the chaos outside. Her attorney, Leonard Price, stood near the window with his phone in his hand. Savannah looked at the blood on Roman's shirt. "Is she alive?" "Yes. The baby's stable." Savannah studied him. "Is it yours?" Leonard shifted uncomfortably. Roman did not answer. Savannah looked away. "My father will consider this a public insult. There was gunfire on the runway. My father will consider that poor planning." Leonard stepped forward. "Mr. Kane, the Whitmore family, traveled here under an agreement that you would personally receive Miss Whitmore and finalize the marriage terms tonight." Roman looked at him. "A woman was attacked on my property. That does not alter the agreement." Savannah spoke without raising her voice. "Leonard." He stopped. She turned back to Roman. "I have met you twice." Roman said nothing. "You did not choose me because you loved me. I did not come because I loved you." Leonard said, "Miss Whitmore, this conversation is inappropriate." Savannah ignored him. "I came because my father said this marriage would prevent bloodshed." "You agreed because someone convinced you it would stabilize your position." Roman watched her carefully. "Who first approached your father?" Savannah frowned. "You did? I did not." Leonard stepped between them. "The proposal was communicated through authorized representatives." "Which representative?" Roman asked. Leonard's silence answered before his words did. Mr. Mercer handled the preliminary communication. Roman looked toward the hangar door. "Grant," Savannah noticed. "You did not know." Roman returned his gaze to her. "No." For the first time, her composure cracked. "My father believes this was your personal request. It was presented to me as his." Savannah leaned back slowly. "Then both of us were brought here under different versions of the same agreement." Roman thought of Claire's words. Grant did not force choices. He controlled what people believed they were choosing. Leonard raised his phone. "I am calling Mr. Whitmore." Roman held out his hand. "Give me the phone." Leonard looked offended. "No." Noah moved one step closer. Leonard handed it over. Roman shut the device off. Savannah watched him. "Are we prisoners now?" "No. You surrounded the building with armed men. There are assassins inside my security network." "That sounds like your problem. It became yours the moment your arrival was used to bring everyone here." Savannah's gaze sharpened. "What are you saying?" Roman chose his words carefully. "I'm saying this marriage may have been designed for something other than an alliance." Before Savannah could respond, a burst of gunfire sounded from inside the terminal. Noah drew his weapon. Roman was already moving. He ran through the corridor toward the medical suite. 2 Kane guards lay near the conference room. One was dead. The other pressed both hands against a wound in his chest. The glass wall had shattered inward. Rachel crouched behind an overturned chair. Claire was on the floor beside the examination bed, shielding her stomach with one arm and holding a pistol in the other. A security officer stood near the far door, his weapon pointed at her. Roman fired first. The officer dropped. Roman crossed the room and knelt beside Claire. "Are you hit?" "No. Her breathing was too fast. Look at me. She did." "Are you hurt?" "My side." Roman looked toward Rachel. Rachel moved closer and checked Claire quickly. No new wound. She twisted when she fell. Noah entered behind them. "The shooter was one of ours." Claire looked past Roman toward the empty hallway. "Where is Grant?" Noah turned. Roman's eyes moved to the leather bag. It was open. Several papers had been pulled across the floor. One folder was missing. Roman stood. "Seal every exit." Noah spoke into his radio. No answer came from the control team. Then a low engine noise rose outside. Roman crossed to the window. 3 black SUVs were leaving the airfield through the eastern service gate. They were the vehicles assigned to carry Roman and the commission delegation the following evening. Noah looked at his phone. No one authorized those vehicles to move. Claire pushed herself upright. Roman reached for her, then stopped before touching her. She noticed. "Help me stand." He placed one hand beneath her elbow and the other at her back. Claire steadied herself against him, then looked through the broken glass at the disappearing taillights. He took the convoy. Roman's voice was quiet. He took one folder. Claire shook her head. That folder was the bait. Roman looked at her. She turned toward the documents scattered across the floor. "The real evidence is still here," Noah asked. "Then why attack us?" Claire's eyes moved toward the dark service road. To make Roman follow. Roman studied the place where the vehicles had vanished. Claire picked up one of the remaining pages. It carried Grant Mercer's authorization code, a list of commission names, and a location in Elizabeth. She looked at Roman. "He knows exactly how you respond when someone challenges your control." Roman took the page from her. "And how is that you move toward the threat?" A radio on the dead officer's belt suddenly crackled. Grant's voice came through the speaker, calm, measured, familiar. "Roman, if you want the men in those vehicles alive, come to Elizabeth." Roman stared at the radio. Grant continued, "Bring Claire in the bag." The transmission ended. Claire looked at Roman's face and saw the old instinct returning. The need to act, the need to command, the need to turn uncertainty into force. She placed her hand over the page he was holding. "Do not follow the road he built for you." Roman looked down at her bruised fingers. Then he looked at the empty gate. For the first time in 22 years, he did not ask what Grant wanted him to see. He asked what Grant was trying to hide. The question changed the room. Roman had spent most of his life asking where danger was located, who controlled it, and how quickly it could be destroyed. Claire had taught him to look beneath the obvious threat, but he had forgotten the lesson when it mattered most. Now Grant had offered him a road to Elizabeth, a stolen convoy, and the illusion of urgency. Roman looked at the radio in his hand. "Grant wants me angry." Claire steadied herself against the edge of the table. "He wants you moving before you think." Noah glanced toward the broken corridor. "The men in those vehicles may still be alive." "They may," Claire said. "Or Grant may have filled the convoy with bodies and cameras." Roman looked at her. "You think he wants proof that I followed? I think he wants everyone else to believe whatever happens next was your decision." The words were soft, but they carried the weight of 8 months. Roman set the radio down. "Then we stop reacting." Noah looked toward the eastern gate. "We need a secure location." Claire shook her head. "There is no secure location left inside Roman's system." Roman turned to her. "You have one, yes." He waited. Claire looked at him for a long moment, deciding whether the truth was worth the risk. "There is an old printing plant in Jersey City. I used it before I joined your organization. No Kane records, no family ownership, no active utilities in the public registry." Roman's eyes narrowed. "You kept an off-record location. I kept an exit. From me, from everyone." Roman felt the answer, but did not challenge it. He looked at Noah. 2 vehicles. No standard routes. No radio traffic. Noah nodded and moved toward the door. Roman stepped closer to Claire. "Can you walk, yes? Can you walk without lying?" She gave him a tired look. "No." He reached for her arm, then stopped. Claire noticed. After a moment, she placed her hand against his shoulder. "Help me." Roman slid one arm around her back and supported her weight. They moved through the terminal beneath emergency lights. Broken glass cracked beneath Roman's shoes. Claire kept the leather bag pressed against her body. Savannah stood near the west corridor with her arms folded across her chest. Leonard remained beside her, pale and furious. Savannah looked from Claire to Roman. "You are leaving." Roman answered. "You are going with Noah. I am not one of your possessions." "No." "Then ask." Roman paused. The old Roman would have issued an order and expected obedience. He looked at Savannah directly. "This airfield is compromised. Noah can take you to a location outside Grant's known network. Will you go with him?" Savannah studied him, surprised by the wording. Then she nodded. "Yes." Leonard objected. "We are returning to Chicago." Savannah turned toward him. "You may return alone." Leonard's mouth tightened. Roman looked at Noah. "Keep her alive," Savannah replied before Noah could. I intend to help with that. Claire and Roman left through a maintenance exit on the north side of the terminal. The rain had weakened, but the air remained cold. Roman guided Claire into the rear seat of an unmarked sedan. Noah had chosen a driver named Mason, a quiet former Marine who had worked for Roman for 6 years. Roman sat beside Claire. The second vehicle followed at a distance. For the first 10 minutes, no one spoke. City lights appeared beyond the dark highway. Wet pavement reflected red brake lamps and white headlights in long, trembling lines. Claire rested her head against the window. Roman watched her reflection. You need a hospital. I need Grant stopped. You can need both. I tried needing you once. Roman looked away. The driver adjusted the heater. Claire's eyes moved toward the dashboard. Turn off the communication system. Mason glanced in the mirror. It is already encrypted. Turn it off. Roman nodded. Mason reached for the controls. Claire leaned forward despite the pain in her side. Stop! Her voice changed. Roman followed her gaze. A thin seam around the communication panel did not match the rest of the dashboard. One corner sat slightly higher than the others. Claire touched it with the edge of her fingernail. When was this replaced? Mason frowned. 3 days ago. Routine equipment update, authorized by whom Mason did not answer. He did not need to. Roman looked at Claire. Grant. Claire reached toward the console. Roman caught her wrist. What are you doing, finding out if he can hear us? You are injured, and you are repeating yourself. Roman released her. Claire removed a small knife from the leather bag. She inserted the blade into the seam and worked the panel loose. Behind it sat a black transmitter no larger than a matchbox. A green light pulsed. Roman stared at it. Mason swore under his breath. Claire held the device between 2 fingers. He heard everything in this car. Roman took it from her. His first instinct was to crush it. Claire closed her hand over his. Do not. He looked at her. We can use it. Roman looked at the blinking light. For 22 years, Grant had sat beside him in cars' offices, restaurants, and safe houses. Roman had believed silence protected his thoughts. He had believed locked doors protected his decisions. All the while, Grant had been listening. What should he hear, Roman asked. Claire leaned back slowly. That you believe Elizabeth is real. Roman turned toward Mason. Take the next exit. Mason obeyed. They pulled beneath a concrete overpass where the sound of passing traffic echoed above them. Roman placed the transmitter near the center console and activated the radio. Noah, he said, allowing urgency into his voice. Grant has the convoy. Confirm all available men are moving toward Elizabeth. Noah understood immediately. All units are redirecting. Do not wait for visual confirmation. Claire watched Roman carefully. He continued. I want the warehouse surrounded before Grant reaches it. Noah replied. Understood. Roman ended the call. Mason looked in the mirror. Where are the men actually going? Roman looked at Claire. She answered. Nowhere. They remained under the overpass for several minutes. Roman stared at the transmitter. Claire leaned her head back and closed her eyes. You should rest. I am thinking. About Grant. About how long he has been doing this. Roman did not answer. Claire opened her eyes. Not only tonight, not only the convoy. Roman's expression hardened. What do you see a pattern? She reached for the leather bag and removed several folded pages. Roman turned on the interior light. Claire spread the documents across the seat between them. One was a shipping report from 14 months earlier. Another was a security review. A third contained bank transfers linked to a construction company. Claire pointed to the dates. This customs investigation was real. Roman remembered it. Federal agents had searched 2 containers at Port Newark. Grant had warned that the eastern terminal was compromised. Roman had moved shipments through a smaller facility farther south. Claire tapped the next page. The company controlling that facility had a silent investor. Roman read the name. It was connected to Cole Maddox. Grant moved my cargo into Cole's reach. He gave you real information and shaped the conclusion. Roman looked at another document. Claire continued. The Ferris dispute was real too. One of their captains insulted Noah during a negotiation. Noah had nearly killed the man. Grant had called it evidence of a larger challenge. Roman had ended the alliance. Claire pointed to a ledger. 3 weeks later, Ferris signed with a supplier connected to Chicago. The Whitmores, yes. Roman felt the pieces beginning to settle. The marriage. Claire nodded. Grant did not create every problem. He selected which problems became urgent. Roman looked out at the rain beyond the windshield. He narrowed my choices. He narrowed what you could see. The distinction mattered. Roman looked back at her. You still think the final decisions were mine? Yes. Even now she did not offer him escape. Roman studied her face. You could blame Grant for everything. That would be easier, for both of us. Claire looked down at the papers. Easy explanations are how men like Grant survive. Roman absorbed the answer. Mason's phone vibrated. He checked the screen. Movement at the Elizabeth warehouse. Claire looked up. Whose 2 empty Kane vehicles approached from the north. 3 unmarked vans left a trucking depot in Newark within minutes. Roman asked, Do we own the depot number? Claire reached for another page. What company? Mason read the name. Barrett Municipal Services. Claire went still. Roman noticed. You know it. The Barrett organization. Roman frowned. They collect garbage. They control city access. Roman looked at her. Claire began gathering the pages. Sanitation trucks, maintenance vans, utility uniforms. They can move armed men through Newark without attracting attention. The Barretts are neutral. No one is neutral. Some people are simply ignored. Roman remembered Grant dismissing the Barrett family during a territory review 2 years earlier. Too small, too local, not worth attention. That had been Grant's conclusion. Roman looked at the transmitter. He expected me to focus on every family strong enough to challenge me. Claire nodded, which made the weak family invisible. Mason asked, Where are the vans headed? Roman replied, Track them without following closely. Mason sent the instruction. Claire pressed one hand against her side. Roman saw it. The pain is worse. It is manageable. That is not an answer. It is the only one you are getting. Roman watched her breathe. After a moment he said, Is the baby moving? Claire looked at him. The question held no command, only fear. Yes. Roman lowered his gaze. May I? Claire understood. Her hand remained over the curve of her stomach. For several seconds she said nothing. Then she took his wrist and placed his palm against her. Roman stopped breathing. At first there was nothing. Then a small movement pressed against his hand. The contact was brief. It changed him. Roman had faced gunfire without flinching. He had watched men beg. He had ordered deaths before breakfast and signed contracts before dinner. Now his hand trembled against the woman he had cast out. Claire noticed. Roman looked at her. I did not know. No, I should have. You should have looked. He closed his eyes. The child moved again. Roman slowly withdrew his hand. Claire studied him. Do not make promises tonight. He opened his eyes. I was not going to. You were thinking them. I was thinking that I failed both of you. Claire looked toward the rain. That is true. Roman accepted it. The driver's phone vibrated again. Mason said the Barrett vans are separating. Routes? Roman asked. One toward downtown Newark, one toward the industrial district, one heading west. Claire leaned forward. Show me. Mason handed back the phone. A map displayed 3 moving signals. Claire studied the roads. The separation is false. Roman watched her. How do you know they are not moving toward separate targets? They are creating uncertainty. She traced the routes with her finger. Look at the timing. The downtown van will pass under the rail bridge. The industrial van will cross near the hospital district. The third will appear to leave the city. Roman saw it. All 3 routes can reconnect. Near the old federal courthouse. Mason looked in the mirror. That building has been closed for years. Claire's eyes sharpened. It was considered for the commission meeting. Roman remembered the discussion. Grant had rejected it. Too many underground access points. Too difficult to secure. Too much exposure to surrounding buildings. Roman had agreed. Claire looked at him. Who removed it from the list, Grant? Then he knew you would stop watching it. Roman reached for his phone. Claire stopped him. No calls. The commission families may already be moving. If you use a Kane channel, Grant hears the warning. Roman looked at the dark transmitter. What do you suggest, Savannah? Roman understood. The Whitmore channel. It sits outside Grant's direct system. Roman called Noah through a secure temporary line. Savannah answered instead. Her voice was steady. Claire. Roman replied, "It is Roman." A pause. "Noah said you may need my father's private channel. We do. What are you asking me to do?" Roman looked at Claire. Claire spoke loudly enough to be heard. "Contact your father. Ask whether he received a revised location for tomorrow's meeting." Savannah was silent for several seconds. Then she said, "He told me the meeting had been moved." Roman's body went still, to where he would not say. "He said the change came through your office." "Which office?" "Grant Mercer." Claire closed her eyes. Roman asked, "When 3 hours before my flight?" The timing placed the change before Claire reached the runway. Grant had already moved the board. Savannah continued, "There is something else." Roman waited. "Leonard received a message just before we landed. I saw part of it when he turned his phone." "What did it say?" Mercer confirmed. Roman looked toward the road ahead. The city lights of Jersey City appeared in the distance. Savannah asked, "Is my father involved?" Claire answered, "We do not know. That is not comforting. It is honest." Savannah exhaled. "I can access his private channel, but only once without triggering an alert." Roman said, "Use it. To send what?" Claire looked at the map again. "Tell him the courthouse is compromised. Tell him to hold every vehicle outside Newark until he receives verbal confirmation from Savannah." Savannah replied, "My father will not enjoy taking orders from me." Claire said, "Then do not order him. Make him afraid he has been used." Savannah was quiet. Roman almost saw her understanding. "I know how to do that," she said. The line disconnected. Roman looked at Claire. "You trust her. I trust that she does not want to be sacrificed. That is enough tonight, it may be." They reached the abandoned printing plant shortly after 1 in the morning. The building sat between a shuttered warehouse and a fenced lot filled with rusting delivery trucks. Its brick walls were dark with rain. Most of the windows had been painted black from inside. Mason unlocked a side door. The air smelled of dust metal and old paper. Claire entered first. Roman followed her through a narrow corridor into a large press room. Silent printing machines stood beneath hanging chains. A row of steel tables occupied the center. Claire moved toward a breaker panel and restored power to one section of the building. A line of pale lights flickered on. Roman looked around. "You maintained this, barely. For how long since before I met you?" Roman saw a cot in one corner, bottled water, medical supplies, several old computers, and a locked cabinet. "You planned for disappearance." Claire placed the leather bag on a table. "I planned for survival." The answer carried no accusation, which made it worse. Mason remained near the entrance. Roman checked the windows. "Noah will meet us here." Claire began placing documents across the steel table. Roman joined her. She arranged the pages into 3 groups. Roman asked, "What are you doing, separating facts from conclusions?" She pointed to the first group. "What Grant gave you." The second, "What you decided." The third, "Who benefited." Roman looked at the pages. Every row led somewhere he did not want to look. A customs report, a broken alliance, a dead accountant, a failed negotiation, a convoy attack, Claire's exile, the Whitmore marriage. Roman stood in silence. Claire watched him see the shape of the machine. Grant had not merely betrayed him. Grant had authored the reality Roman believed he ruled. Roman spoke quietly. "He made me into the weapon." Claire met his eyes. "He gave you targets. And I fired." "Yes." Roman looked down at the file bearing her name. The forged transfers, the altered access logs, the messages she had never sent. His voice became almost inaudible. "I should have known you." Claire did not move. "I thought I did. That is not the same thing." Roman looked at her. She continued, "You knew how I took my coffee. You knew which side of the bed I slept on. You knew I hated crowded rooms and that I read reports twice when I was afraid." Her voice tightened. "But when the evidence told you I was someone else, you chose the evidence because it asked less of you." Roman absorbed every word. Claire looked down. "You did not need Grant to make you cruel. He only needed to make cruelty feel reasonable." The door behind them opened. Roman drew his weapon. Noah entered with Savannah and Rachel. Savannah looked from the gun to the documents covering the table. Rachel crossed immediately to Claire. "You should be lying down," Claire replied. "I have spent enough time lying down." Rachel touched her wrist and checked her pulse. Noah approached Roman. "The Barrett vans are converging near the courthouse. We intercepted one message on Savannah's channel." "What did it say?" Noah handed him a phone. The screen showed a short encrypted text. All principals confirmed. Mercer inside. Roman read it twice. Savannah stood near the table. My father acknowledged the warning. He has stopped his convoy outside the city. The others, Roman asked. No confirmation. Claire looked at the courthouse plans. Grant may already have them inside. Roman asked how many entrances, 3 visible, at least 1 underground. Noah spread a city map across the table. There is an old prisoner transfer tunnel connecting the courthouse to a municipal building. Claire leaned over the map. That is how Cole moves his men. Roman looked at her. How can you be sure Cole kept infrastructure maps in his study? Sewers, utility lines, abandoned tunnels. Savannah stared at her. You memorized them. Claire did not look up. I was not allowed a phone. Roman studied the lines beneath the courthouse. Grant had offered Elizabeth because he wanted Roman's soldiers elsewhere. The real attack had always been waiting beneath Newark. Noah's phone rang. He answered, listened, then looked at Roman. The first commission convoy just arrived at the courthouse. Roman picked up his coat. Claire reached for the leather bag. Roman said, "You stay here." She froze. The room became quiet. Roman saw the mistake before she spoke. Claire looked at him. "No, you are injured, I know. You are 7 months pregnant, I know. The courthouse is a kill box, and I am the only person here who understands Cole's structure." Roman stepped closer. "I cannot take you into that building." Claire's expression changed. Not anger alone, recognition. The old cage returning in a different shape. "You cannot take me anywhere," she said. "I decide whether I go." Roman's instinct rose inside him. Command her, protect her, remove the risk. Then he looked at the evidence spread across the table. Every disaster Grant created had depended on Roman confusing control with responsibility. Roman forced himself to stop. "What do you need to go safely?" Claire held his gaze. The question changed everything. She looked down at the courthouse map. A weapon. An encrypted phone. Access to the building systems. Roman nodded. No argument, no permission disguised as care. He opened the locked cabinet and found an old pistol inside. Claire checked the chamber and slid it into the back of her waistband. Savannah watched them. "You trust her with a gun?" Roman answered, "I trust her with more than that." Claire looked at him, but said nothing. Noah pointed to the tunnel entrance on the map. "We can reach it through the municipal building." Rachel stepped closer to Claire. "You may not make it through a long fight," Claire replied. "Then we avoid one." Roman looked at the transmitter still blinking on the table. He placed it beside the courthouse map. Grant believed he was listening to Roman move toward Elizabeth. For the first time, Roman was moving somewhere Grant had not invited him. Outside, a line of black vehicles appeared beyond the painted windows. Noah looked through a narrow gap. "Those are not ours." The first headlights stopped at the edge of the lot. Then another vehicle arrived behind it. And another. Claire reached for the light switch. The press room went dark. Roman raised his weapon. From outside came the slow, metallic sound of car doors opening. No one spoke. Roman moved beside Claire, not in front of her. Beside her. Through the darkness, a man's voice called from the loading dock. "Mr. Kane Grant Mercer sends his regards." Claire looked toward the rear corridor. Roman followed her gaze. She whispered, "There is another exit." Gunfire tore through the front windows. Glass exploded across the floor. Roman covered Claire as the first wave of bullets struck the old printing presses. The Empire had not followed them to Jersey City. It had already been waiting there. The first burst of gunfire ripped through the front windows and sent a storm of glass across the press room. Roman pulled Claire down behind the nearest machine as bullets struck steel above them. The old press groaned under the impact. Dust and paper fragments filled the air. Mason fired toward the loading dock. Noah dragged Savannah behind a concrete support column while Rachel dropped beside them. Claire pressed one hand over her stomach and forced herself to breathe. Roman leaned close. "Can you move?" "Yes." "Are you sure?" "No." Another volley tore through the building. Roman looked toward the rear corridor Claire had indicated. "How far?" 40 yards. There is a maintenance stairwell at the end. Where does it lead an alley behind the eastern wall? Roman glanced across the room. 3 men in dark clothing moved through the loading entrance. They wore no family colors, no identifying patches, nothing that could connect them to Grant. Professional, disposable. Roman fired twice. One man dropped behind a stack of broken pallets. The others spread apart. Noah returned fire from the opposite side of the room. Savannah crouched close to the floor, her face pale but controlled. Rachel reached for her arm. "Stay down." Savannah looked at the corridor. "We cannot stay here." Claire raised her voice just enough for Roman to hear. "There is a power panel beside the rear office." Roman looked toward the wall. "What does it control the presses?" "Fire suppression, exterior shutters." "Can you reach it?" Claire nodded. Roman started to move with her. She caught his sleeve. "No, they are watching you." Roman looked at her. "They came for you. They came for the bag." She handed it to him. Roman stared at the leather strap now wrapped around his wrist. Claire said, "Make them believe I am still with it." Before he could object, she crawled toward a narrow aisle between the presses. Roman's voice dropped. "Claire," she looked back. What the words he wanted to say arrived all at once. "Be careful. Do not leave my sight. Let me do this." He forced them down. "How much time do you need?" 30 seconds. Roman nodded. Then he stood and moved toward the center of the room with the bag pressed against his side. A shooter saw him. "Kane has it." Gunfire shifted toward Roman. He dropped behind a steel table as rounds struck the surface. Noah understood the move. He fired toward the loading entrance and shouted, "Mason, cover the east aisle." Mason moved away from the main door. Savannah looked toward Claire's path. She could barely see Claire crawling through the shadows. A man appeared near the office corridor. Savannah saw him before anyone else. He was not looking at Roman. He was watching Claire. Savannah reached for the pistol Noah had placed near the floor. Rachel caught her wrist. "You know how to use that." Savannah took the weapon. "My father believed daughters should understand the cost of his business." She aimed with both hands. The man stepped into the aisle. Savannah fired. The shot struck his shoulder and spun him into the wall. Claire reached the power panel. She pulled the cover open and searched through the old switches. The labels had faded. Roman fired toward the men advancing through the loading dock. One of them threw a small metal canister into the room. It rolled beneath a press. Claire recognized it. Flash grenade. Roman turned away. The explosion filled the room with white light and a violent crack. For several seconds, sound disappeared. Roman tasted blood. His vision blurred. He felt someone grab the bag. He drove an elbow backward and heard bone break. A man fell beside him. Roman took the attacker's weapon and fired through the fading smoke. Across the room, Claire found the emergency suppression switch. She pulled it. Nothing happened. She pulled again. A deep mechanical vibration traveled through the walls. Then the building came alive. Rusting pipes shuddered overhead. Valves opened. Water and chemical foam poured from the ceiling in heavy sheets. The old printing presses began cycling. Steel rollers turned. Chains moved through the darkness. The sudden noise swallowed shouted commands. Claire reached for the exterior shutter control. She hit the switch. Metal panels dropped over the loading entrance. 2 attackers made it inside. The others were trapped outside. Noah shot one as he tried to crawl beneath the closing shutter. The second ran toward Roman. Roman stepped aside and drove him against a moving press. The man's sleeve caught between the rollers. He screamed and dropped his weapon. Roman kicked it away. Claire reached the rear corridor. Roman saw her through the water and foam. He moved toward her. A shot struck the wall beside Claire's head. Mason stood near the eastern aisle with his pistol raised. For one impossible second, Roman did not understand. Then he saw where Mason was aiming, at Claire. Roman fired. The bullet struck Mason in the chest. Mason stumbled backward but remained standing. He looked down at the blood spreading across his shirt. Roman approached with his weapon trained on him. Mason gave a weak laugh. "You still think this is about one advisor?" Roman's voice was flat. "How many enough?" "Who else?" Mason looked toward the leather bag. Grant offered everyone a choice. What choice? Remain loyal to a king whose empire is shrinking or follow the man who built it? Roman stepped closer. "You worked for me 6 years. I worked beneath you." Mason lifted his weapon again. Claire fired first. The shot struck Mason below the collarbone. He fell against the wall and slid to the floor. Claire lowered the pistol slowly. Her hands trembled. Roman looked at her. She saw the expression on his face. Do not look at me like that. Like what? Like you forgot I survived before you found me. Roman glanced at Mason's body, then back at her. I did not forget. You keep trying to. He tightened his grip on the bag. Noah appeared beside them. The rear exit is clear. Roman looked across the room. Savannah, I am here. She came through the foam with Rachel behind her. Savannah's weapon remained in her hand. Roman noticed the wounded attacker near the office. You shot him. Yes. Her voice was steady, but her face had gone pale. Roman said, give the weapon to Noah. Savannah looked at him. That sounded like an order. Roman took a breath. Please. She handed it over. They moved into the rear corridor. The old stairwell was narrow and steep. Claire descended slowly, one hand gripping the rail. Roman stayed one step below her, not touching, ready. They reached a rusted door at the bottom. Noah opened it. Cold air rushed in. The alley beyond was empty. Rainwater flowed along the curb beneath broken streetlights. Roman's second vehicle waited 50 yards away with its engine running. The driver opened the rear door. Roman stopped. Who assigned him? Noah answered, I did. Roman looked at the man behind the wheel. The driver raised both hands. Roman approached and removed the man's weapon. No resistance, no hidden transmitter, no unusual panel. Still, Roman did not enter. Claire watched him examine every detail. Grant had changed the shape of ordinary things. A driver was no longer a driver. A car was no longer transportation. A secure route was only a route someone wanted him to trust. Savannah looked toward the printing plant. Sirens sounded in the distance. We need to move. Roman turned to Claire. Choose the vehicle. She looked at the two cars in the alley. The delivery van. Noah frowned. It is slower. It is also not connected to Roman. The van belonged to the abandoned warehouse next door. Its paint was faded. One headlight was cracked. Roman took the keys from a hook inside the loading entrance. Noah drove. Rachel sat beside Claire in the rear and checked her pulse again. Roman took the seat across from them. Savannah sat near the doors. The van pulled away as the first fire engines reached the street. Claire looked through the dirty rear window. The printing plant disappeared behind them. Roman held the leather bag on his lap. Savannah broke the silence. Who was the man Claire shot one of mine? Roman said. Savannah looked at him. You did not hesitate. He aimed at her. That is not what I meant. Roman said nothing. Savannah continued. You knew him 6 years, and now you do not know who else belongs to Grant. Roman looked toward Noah. Noah kept his eyes on the road. Claire answered for him. That is the point. Savannah turned toward her. Grant does not need every soldier, no. He only needs Roman to stop trusting all of them. Roman looked at Claire. She understood the structure now. Grant's attack on the printing plant was not only an attempt to kill them, it was designed to widen the fracture. Every betrayal forced Roman inward. Every compromised guard encouraged more control, more isolation, more dependence on a single trusted voice. Grant had built the cage long before Roman knew he was inside it. Rachel pressed her fingers against Claire's wrist. Your pulse is too high. Claire replied, I am sitting down. You need more than a chair. We do not have more. Roman looked at Rachel. How serious? She needs rest, fluids, monitoring. Claire cut in. I am conscious. Rachel looked at her. That is not the standard. Roman almost told Noah to redirect toward a hospital. He stopped himself. Claire saw the thought. No hospitals. Roman asked, why Grant knows which doctors you use. Cole knows them too. Rachel nodded reluctantly. She is right. Roman looked through the windshield. The van moved west toward Newark. Savannah's phone vibrated. Everyone turned toward her. She checked the screen. It is Leonard. Roman said, do not answer. Savannah looked at him, then at Claire. Claire asked, what does he want? The message says he escaped the farmhouse. Noah glanced at the mirror. He did not. Savannah read the next line. He says my father ordered me to return to Chicago. Claire held out her hand. Savannah gave her the phone. The message was brief. Malcolm has confirmed the alliance remains active. Return immediately. Roman Kane is no longer able to guarantee your safety. Claire examined the wording. This was not written for Savannah. Roman asked, Who was it written for anyone who sees it later? Savannah understood. Grant wants a record showing my father withdrew me. Yes. Roman looked at the phone. Then he can claim the Whitmores abandoned the alliance before the attack, and blame them, Savannah said. Claire nodded. Or make the East Coast families believe Chicago knew about the massacre. Savannah took the phone back. My father may be difficult, but he would not approve killing 6 bosses at once. Roman looked at her. You are certain no? The honesty sharpened the room. Savannah continued. But he would not do it without telling me where to stand when the shooting began. Noah took the next exit toward a Kane-owned farmhouse outside Chester. Claire noticed. No. Noah glanced back. What? That property is in Roman's emergency network. The network is secure. Roman answered before Claire could. No network is secure. Noah tightened his hands on the wheel. Roman said, take us somewhere Grant would consider beneath me. Noah thought for a moment. There is a closed parish church near downtown Newark. My aunt kept the keys after the diocese merged congregations. Roman looked at Claire. She nodded. The municipal records show no Kane connection, none. Go there. The church sat between a boarded pharmacy and a row of narrow brick houses. Its stone steps were dark with rain. Noah parked in the alley behind it. They entered through a side door. The interior smelled of old wood and candle wax. Only the red sanctuary lamp remained lit. Claire walked towards the final pew and sat slowly. Rachel followed, but Claire raised one hand. Give me a minute. Rachel looked toward Roman. Roman said, give her a minute. Noah moved Savannah toward the sacristy to make calls. Roman remained near the aisle. Claire stared at the dark altar. He sat one pew behind her, not beside her. The distance mattered. For a while, neither spoke. Rain touched the stained glass windows in soft, uneven rhythms. Claire's voice came quietly. I used to think you would come. Roman looked at the back of her head. When Cole first took me, every engine outside the house sounded like one of your cars. She folded her hands over her stomach. Every time a door opened, I thought Noah had found the property. Every time the dogs barked, I thought your men were coming through the woods. Roman felt something inside him collapse. Claire continued. The first week I slept in my clothes because I thought I would need to run when you arrived. Roman lowered his gaze. The second week I started wondering whether Grant had hidden me well. She turned slightly. The third week I understood you were not looking. Roman did not defend himself. He could have said he believed she had fled. He could have said Grant showed him reports placing her in Canada. He could have said every search appeared to confirm she had chosen disappearance. None of it changed the truth. I did not look, he said. Claire watched him. No. Roman's hands rested loosely between his knees. I thought searching for you would make me weak, and now I know not searching made me something worse. Claire looked toward the altar again. Roman said I cannot undo what happened. No. I cannot ask you to trust me tonight. No. His voice roughened. But I can stop deciding what your survival should look like. Claire's expression shifted. Not forgiveness, not relief, recognition. If we survive this, she said, do not call it rescue. Roman waited. You are not saving me from a place you helped put me. What should I call it? Claire took a slow breath. A beginning. Maybe. Noah entered through the side aisle. The commission convoys are moving. Roman stood. How many? 4 confirmed. 2 already inside Newark. 1 from Boston, 1 from Philadelphia. The Whitmores, Savannah followed behind him. My father stopped outside the city after my message. Roman looked at her. And the others, they think the revised location came from Roman, Noah said. Claire rose carefully. Grant has enough of them. Noah opened a folded city plan across the end of the pew. The old courthouse has 3 primary entrances. Front steps, underground garage, eastern service corridor. Claire pointed to a narrow line beneath the building. And the prisoner transfer tunnel. Noah nodded. It connects to the municipal records building. Roman studied the map. How many Barrett men unknown? Cameras show maintenance vehicles entering the garage. Savannah looked at the courthouse outline. Can we call the police? Roman answered. Grant has spent years buying time through police channels. A warning may reach him before it reaches anyone useful. Claire studied the route. Then we use the tunnel. Roman looked at her. You are not entering the main chamber. Claire's eyes narrowed. He corrected himself before she could speak. I am asking you to control the security room. She looked back at the map. Where is it? Noah pointed to the western side of the first floor, near the old clerk's offices. Claire traced the path from the tunnel. I can reach it without entering the chamber. Roman said, The moment you want to leave, we leave. Claire looked at him. Even if the bosses are still inside? Yes. He did not hesitate. The answer unsettled her more than an argument would have. Roman continued, I am not deciding what you risk for my empire. Savannah watched them in silence. Noah's phone rang. He answered. A woman's voice came through the speaker, distorted by static. Multiple vehicles entering the courthouse garage. At least 30 armed men. Noah asked commission security number of municipal uniforms. Claire looked at Roman. The Barretts. The caller continued. There is someone with Mercer. Roman took the phone. Who? The line crackled. Then a security image arrived. Cole Maddox stood inside the courthouse chamber wearing a dark suit. He appeared calm. Beside him, Grant Mercer spoke to 6 seated men around the old federal table. Grant's posture was relaxed, almost respectful, like an advisor presenting a difficult truth. Noah enlarged the image. Cole held a small black device in his right hand. Claire leaned closer. Her face changed. Roman saw it. What is that A trigger? For what? Claire looked at the courthouse map. Cole used the same design at his house. Wireless release, dead man function. Savannah understood first. If he lets go, the signal activates. Roman stared at Cole's hand. How many explosives? Claire looked at the underground garage stairwell and central chamber. As many as Grant needs to kill everyone and leave a story behind. Noah's phone rang again. This time the call came from an unknown number. Roman answered. Grant's voice filled the church. Roman. Roman looked toward the dark altar. Grant, I am told you ignored Elizabeth. You taught me to question obvious gifts. A brief silence. Then Grant laughed softly. I taught you many things. Roman looked at Claire. She listened without moving. Grant continued. The commission believes you arranged this meeting to eliminate them. They are sitting beside you. Because I told them, I discovered your plan. Roman's hand tightened around the phone. What do you want? The same thing I have wanted for years. To stand where I stand? No. Grant's voice remained calm. To stop carrying a man who mistakes inheritance for strength. Roman's expression did not change. Grant continued. You arrived with your father's name, his soldiers, his territory, and his enemies. I turned those pieces into an empire. And now you want credit. I want correction. Roman looked at the image of Grant inside the courthouse chamber. Why Claire? On the other end? Silence stretched. Then Grant said, Because she made you less predictable. Claire lowered her eyes. She asked questions you once brought only to me. She saw inconsistencies. She made you imagine a life that did not require my guidance. Roman's voice became colder. So you framed her. I gave you evidence. You forged it. I placed a choice in front of you. Roman felt Claire watching him. Grant spoke more softly. You chose your kingdom. The words landed exactly where Grant intended. Roman said, You knew I would. I built the man who would. Claire stepped closer and held out her hand. Roman gave her the phone. Her voice was steady. Grant. A pause. Claire, you left the Eastern Service Gate open. I knew you would find it. You left printed files in Cole's study. I knew you would steal them. You wanted me on that runway. I needed Roman to see a ghost. Claire looked at Roman. Why? Grant answered without hesitation. Because a man who believes his past has returned stops watching his future. Claire stared at the courthouse image. You still needed the bag. I needed Roman to believe it mattered. She looked down at the leather case. The Elizabeth file was false. Not entirely. You put enough truth inside it to make the lie breathe. Grant sounded almost pleased. You always were my best student. Claire's voice hardened. I was never yours. No, that was the problem. A door slammed somewhere on Grant's end. Voices rose. Grant lowered his voice. Roman will bring you into the courthouse because he cannot separate love from possession. Claire looked at Roman. Roman said nothing. Grant continued. And when he does, Cole will kill you first. The call ended. Noah studied the map. We have less than 20 minutes. Rachel stepped in front of Claire. You are not physically stable, Claire replied. Neither is the building. Rachel looked at Roman. He did not speak for Claire. Instead, he asked, "What do you need?" Claire looked down at the map. A weapon, the encrypted phone, access codes for the security system. Noah handed her the phone. Roman removed a spare pistol from beneath his coat and placed it on the pew between them. Claire checked the magazine. Savannah watched her. "You are going inside." Claire slid the weapon behind her back. "Yes." Savannah looked toward Roman. "And you allow this?" Roman answered. "It is not mine to allow." For the first time, Savannah looked at him without contempt. Noah gathered the courthouse plans. "We enter through the records building. Roman and I take the tunnel. Claire reaches the security room. Savannah stays here with Rachel." Savannah shook her head. "No." Roman looked at her. She continued, "My father's private channel is the only one Grant has not fully compromised. I need to stay close enough to send evidence." Roman asked, "Can you operate from the municipal building?" "Yes." Noah considered it. "That keeps her outside the courthouse." Roman looked at Savannah. "Your decision." She nodded. "My decision." They left the church through the rear door. The rain had stopped. Downtown Newark rose ahead of them, its windows glowing above wet streets. The abandoned federal courthouse stood 6 blocks away, a dark stone mass beneath the city lights. Black vehicles lined the surrounding streets. Municipal vans occupied the garage entrance. Men in maintenance uniforms watched every corner. Roman studied the building through the windshield. 22 years of loyalty waited inside. So did the woman's captor, 6 crime bosses, and enough explosives to turn an empire into a grave. Claire sat beside him with one hand over her child and the other resting near her weapon. Roman looked at her. "Can you continue?" She met his eyes. Yes. He nodded once. No command, no promise, only trust. Noah drove toward the municipal records building. Behind the courthouse walls, Grant Mercer raised his head as though he could feel Roman entering the city. Then every light in the old federal building went dark. The darkness lasted less than 3 seconds. It was enough. Men inside the courthouse shouted. Chairs scraped across stone. Weapons came free of holsters. Somewhere beneath the building, an alarm began to pulse through the walls. Then the emergency lights came on. A dim red glow spread across the old federal chamber. Grant Mercer remained near the judge's bench calm, while everyone else turned toward the doors. Cole Maddox stood beside him with one hand wrapped around the black trigger. 6 East Coast bosses sat around the long table below them. Their guards had been forced against the walls and disarmed. Grant lifted his voice. "Stay seated." One of the bosses, Victor Marino of Boston, pushed back his chair. "You bring us into a dead courthouse and shut off the lights, then expect us to sit." Grant looked at Cole's hand. Cole raised the trigger slightly. Victor stopped. Grant said, "The building has been prepared. The garage, the eastern stairwell, the chamber beneath your feet." A low murmur moved around the table. Victor stared at Grant. "You threaten the commission and think you will leave this city alive." "I am not threatening the commission." Grant's gaze traveled across the men before him. "I am protecting it from Roman Kane." The chamber doors opened. 2 Barrett soldiers dragged in a wounded Kane captain. Blood darkened the man's shirt. Grant looked down at him. "Tell them." The captain struggled to breathe. Grant repeated the command. "Tell them whose men were sent to secure the building." The captain looked at the bosses. "Kane." Grant nodded toward the Kane insignia still visible beneath the man's coat. The explosives were placed by soldiers wearing Roman's colors. His convoy was redirected to Elizabeth to create a false trail. His men entered this courthouse before any of you arrived. Victor looked toward the doors. "You expect us to believe Roman planned to kill every boss in the room?" Grant gave a sad smile. "I expect you to believe what the evidence shows." Deep beneath the chamber, Roman Kane stepped into the prisoner transfer tunnel. Cold water covered the soles of his shoes. Noah moved several feet ahead with a flashlight held low. 2 loyal soldiers followed behind them. Claire walked at Roman's side. The tunnel was narrow and stained with decades of damp. Rusted pipes ran along the ceiling. The air smelled of earth-old concrete and stagnant water. Roman looked at Claire. Her face had gone pale. "You can turn back. I know. That was not an order. I know that too." She took another step. Pain tightened across her stomach. She stopped and placed one hand against the wall. Roman turned immediately. "Claire, She closed her eyes. "Give me a second." Noah looked back. Rachel had warned them that stress could trigger labor. The memory hung in Roman's mind with every breath Claire took. He kept his voice low. "What do you need to breathe?" Roman stood beside her without touching. Claire inhaled slowly through her nose, held it, released it through her mouth. The pressure began to ease. She opened her eyes. "I can continue." Roman watched her carefully. "Can you continue because you choose to or because you think you have to?" Claire looked at him. The question struck deeper than he intended. She answered honestly. "Both." Roman nodded. "Then you tell me when one becomes stronger than the other." They moved again. Ahead, Noah reached a metal service door built into the tunnel wall. He checked the handle. Locked. One of the soldiers removed a set of tools. Claire stepped closer. "Do not cut it." Noah looked at her. "Why?" She pointed to a thin wire near the hinge. "Contact alarm." Noah followed the wire with his flashlight. It disappeared into the concrete. Roman asked, "Can you disable it?" Claire studied the mechanism. "Not from this side." Noah raised his weapon. "Then we break through and move fast." Claire shook her head. "The alarm may be connected to the charges." Roman looked at the door. "How else do we enter?" Claire turned toward the pipes above them. One carried an old municipal marking. She followed it several feet along the tunnel until it reached a rusted access panel. "Maintenance shaft." Noah examined it. "It is too narrow." "For you." Roman looked at Claire. "No." She did not look at him. "I can fit. You're not crawling through a maintenance shaft." Claire turned. "The door is trapped. We find another entrance. There is no time." Roman's instinct rose quickly. Refuse, command, protect. He forced himself to remain still. Claire saw the conflict in his face. She stepped closer. "I can reach the security room from the other side. Once I disable the alarm, you open the door." Roman looked at the narrow metal shaft. "How far?" "Maybe 15 feet. Maybe the courthouse plans are old." Noah checked his watch. "Commission security entered the building 9 minutes ago." Roman looked at Claire. "What happens if the shaft is blocked? I come back. What happens if you cannot? I call you. What happens if the signal fails?" Claire met his eyes. "Roman." He stopped. She spoke quietly. "You asked what I needed. I need you to trust that I know what I am doing." His jaw tightened. Every part of him wanted to place himself between Claire and danger, but there was no room for him inside the shaft. That was the truth he could not command away. Roman removed the encrypted phone from his coat and handed it to her. "Keep the line open." Claire took it. Noah removed the access panel. A dark metal passage appeared behind it. Claire lowered herself carefully. Roman caught her elbow. She looked at him. "Tell me to stop if you need to stop," he said. "I will." He released her. Claire entered the shaft. The space barely allowed her shoulders through. Dust covered her palms. The metal floor pressed against her knees. Roman watched until darkness swallowed her. Then her voice came through his phone. "I am moving." Roman held the phone close. "Talk to me. There is a bend ahead." Metal scraped softly through the speaker. Claire's breathing grew heavier. Roman stared into the shaft. Noah remained near the trap door, checking the tunnel behind them. Claire reached the bend and turned sideways. Her stomach pressed against the metal wall. Pain moved through her lower back. She stopped. Roman heard the change in her breathing. "Claire, I am here. Are you hurt? No, do not lie to me." She closed her eyes. "I am not hurt. I am afraid." Roman's expression changed. The honesty cut through every layer of discipline he possessed. "I am here," he said. "You cannot reach me." "No." The admission hurt more than any promise would have helped. Claire pressed one palm against the metal floor. "I am still moving," she continued. On the other side of the trapped door, footsteps crossed a hallway. Claire froze. 2 men spoke in low voices. "Mercer wants the tunnel checked. What about the municipal entrance already covered?" Claire turned off the light on her phone. Roman heard nothing. "Claire," she whispered. 2 men outside." Roman looked at Noah. Noah lifted his weapon toward the door. Claire crawled forward until she saw a thin line of red emergency light through a grate. She reached it and looked down. A storage room lay beneath her. 1 Barrett soldier stood near the door. Another checked a radio beside a cabinet. Claire shifted slowly. The grate moved beneath her hand. A small metallic sound crossed the room. Both men looked up. Claire pushed the grate free. It struck the nearest man's shoulder. She dropped through the opening. The fall sent pain through her ribs, but she landed on one knee and drew her pistol. The second man reached for his weapon. Claire fired once. The bullet struck his thigh. He fell against the cabinet. The first man turned. Claire drove the pistol into his jaw. He staggered. She caught his wrist before he could raise his gun and twisted until the weapon dropped. He grabbed her by the throat. Claire slammed her knee into his body. He did not release her. The wounded man reached for his radio. Claire kicked the radio beneath a shelf. The first man pushed her against the wall. His forearm pressed across her chest. "You should have stayed with Maddox." Claire's eyes hardened. "You should have stayed outside." She drove her thumb into the wound beneath his jaw. He recoiled. Claire raised her pistol and struck him across the temple. He collapsed. Roman heard the struggle through the open line. "Claire." She picked up the phone. "I am inside." Roman closed his eyes for 1 second. "Open the door." Claire found the alarm wire running from the storage room into the corridor. She followed it to a small control box. Inside were 3 circuits. One marked the tunnel. One marked the stairwell. One had no label. Claire studied the wiring. "Roman, the alarm is tied to another circuit. What circuit I do not know. Can you separate it?" "Yes." The wounded Barrett soldier moved behind her. Claire heard fabric scrape against the floor. She turned and aimed. He stopped. "Do not." He looked at her stomach. "You will not shoot." Claire fired into the floor beside his hand. He froze. She looked back at the control box. Roman said, "What happened?" He made an assumption. Claire cut the wire connected to the tunnel. The red indicator went dark. No explosion. No alarm. She crossed to the metal door and unlocked it. Roman entered first. His eyes went to the 2 men on the floor, then to Claire. "Are you all right?" "Yes." He saw the bruising forming along her throat. His expression changed. Claire touched his sleeve. "Stay here." Roman looked at the man who had grabbed her. Claire held his gaze. "Stay with me." Roman forced his attention back to her. Noah entered with the soldiers. Claire pointed toward the corridor. "The security room is 1 floor above us." Roman said, "We move together." Claire shook her head. "You need to reach the chamber. Noah can go." "Noah does not know Grant. I know him." Claire looked at Roman. "That is why you need to face him." Roman did not like the separation. She saw it. "I will take 1 soldier. Noah chose a young man named Lucas." Roman looked at Lucas. "You stay with her." Claire replied, "He works with me." Roman corrected himself. "You work with her." Lucas nodded. Roman turned back to Claire. "The moment you need to leave, call me." She held his gaze. "I will." Roman walked toward the northern corridor with Noah and the remaining soldier. Claire watched him disappear around the corner. Then she turned toward the stairs. The security room sat behind a glass wall overlooking the western hallway. Its door had been forced open. Inside, 2 courthouse guards were tied to chairs. Both were alive. Claire signaled Lucas to cover the corridor. She entered. Computer monitors displayed red warning screens. Most cameras had been disabled. One remained active inside the main chamber. Grant stood before the commission. Cole still held the trigger. Claire moved to the console. One of the tied guards raised his head. "Who are you?" "Someone trying to keep this building standing." She cut the restraints from his wrists. "Can you access the security network? Not from here. They changed the administrator code." "Who changed it?" "A man named Mercer." Claire looked at the screens. Of course. She inserted the encrypted phone into the system port. Roman reached the staircase leading toward the chamber. Noah stopped him before the landing. Voices echoed beyond the door. Grant was still speaking. Roman isolated every family represented here. He broke agreements, redirected shipments, used violence against captains who questioned him. Victor Marino answered. "Some of those decisions benefited you?" Grant smiled. "They benefited the stability of the region." Another boss, Daniel Ferris, leaned forward. "You told me Roman ordered the attack on my warehouse." He did. Roman listened from behind the door. Claire's voice entered his earpiece. "The report Grant gave Ferris came from a Kane address, but the server path runs through a Mercer company." Roman lowered his voice. "Can you prove it?" "I am building the record now." Grant continued inside the chamber. "You have spent years believing Roman Kane was your most dangerous rival. You were wrong." Roman was only dangerous because I kept him informed. Victor looked at Cole, and Maddox Grant's expression remained calm. A necessary partner. Cole smiled. Victor said, "A butcher." Cole answered, "Only when the work requires it." Grant looked toward the chamber doors. He should be here by now. Roman stepped through them. Every face turned. Roman entered alone. Noah remained hidden behind the wall with the others. Grant looked almost relieved. Roman. Roman's gaze moved across the room. 6 bosses, 12 Barrett soldiers. Cole near the center. 3 Kane men lying wounded beside the eastern wall. Explosives hidden beneath the floor. Roman stopped several yards from the table. "You chose an ugly courtroom." Grant looked around. "Your father once stood trial in this building. He walked out." "Because I arranged the jurors." Roman met his eyes. "There it is. What the part where every victory belongs to you?" Grant's expression cooled. Most of them did. Cole lifted the trigger. "Do not move closer." Roman looked at him. Cole smiled. "You finally came for her." Roman did not take the bait. Grant watched him carefully. "Where is Claire safe?" Grant shook his head. "She has never been safe with you." The truth inside the accusation made it more dangerous. Roman said, "She is not here because I brought her." Grant studied him. For the first time, uncertainty moved across his face. Roman continued. "She came because she chose to." Grant looked toward the side cameras. Claire watched the exchange from the security room. Her hands moved across the console. She restored one camera in the underground garage. The image showed 3 vehicles surrounded by fuel drums. Wires ran beneath the concrete pillars. Another camera revealed charges attached beneath the eastern stairwell. A third showed a device beneath the chamber floor. Claire enlarged the image. The wireless receiver blinked at a steady interval. She looked at Cole's trigger. Dead man switch. If his hand released pressure, the signal would transmit. Claire said into Roman's earpiece, "Keep him holding the trigger." Roman did not respond. Grant walked down from the judge's bench. "You want them to believe you came to save them. I do not care what they believe tonight. You always care. No, you cared. You needed every family to see the version of me you created." Grant stopped several feet away. "I created order. You created dependence. I made you powerful. You made me blind." Grant's eyes hardened. "You inherited men who barely respected your father. I gave them reasons to fear you. You gave me enemies. I gave you purpose." Roman looked toward the bosses. "Ask him about the Ferris warehouse." Daniel Ferris turned toward Grant. Grant did not look at him. Roman continued. "Ask him who routed the report through my server." Grant smiled. "Claire is feeding you lines. She is showing us records." Cole shifted his weight. Grant glanced toward him. Roman noticed. "What happens if they see the records?" Grant's voice dropped. "They see a woman trying to save the man who discarded her." Roman absorbed the words without reacting. Grant continued, "She still believes you can change because she needs the pain to mean something." Roman looked at the chamber camera. He knew Claire was listening. He said, "She does not owe meaning to what I did." Silence filled the room. Grant's expression changed. Roman continued, "She does not owe me forgiveness. She does not owe me loyalty. She does not owe me another chance." Victor Marino watched him carefully. Roman's gaze remained on Grant. "You framed her. I condemned her. Both things are true." Grant's smile disappeared. "You think confession makes you clean, no?" Roman took one step forward. Cole raised the trigger. "Stop." Roman stopped. Claire studied the receiver beneath the floor. The system used 2 channels, one wireless, one wired. She traced the wired circuit through the building plans. It ran toward the basement generator. "Lucas." He entered the security room. Claire pointed to the plans. "The generator has a manual backup trigger, where lower basement, east utility room." Lucas looked toward the corridor. "That is below the chamber." "Yes. You want me to disable it? I need Noah." She called Roman. "Send Noah to the basement generator. There is a second trigger." Roman touched his earpiece. Grant saw the movement. "Who are you speaking to?" Roman lowered his hand. "No one you control." Grant looked toward the guards. "Search the building." 4 Barrett soldiers moved toward the side doors. Noah heard the order from the corridor. He signaled the soldier beside him to remain hidden, then moved down the stairs. Claire watched the cameras. 2 Barrett men entered the western hall. Lucas locked the security door. He did. The men reached it seconds later and struck the glass. Claire ignored them. She connected the courthouse system to Savannah's private channel. Savannah waited inside the municipal records building with Rachel. Her phone lit up. Claire's voice came through. "I am sending video and files." Savannah opened the transfer. Images appeared. Grant in the chamber. Cole holding the trigger. Explosives beneath the building. Forged reports. Bank transfers. "Send everything to your father," Claire said. Savannah looked at Rachel. "And the other families?" "All of them." Savannah hesitated. "This may expose my father's communications." "Yes, he will consider that betrayal." Claire looked through the camera at the men surrounding the bosses. "Then decide who you are protecting." Savannah looked at the files. For most of her life, men had decided what her name required. Tonight, the decision belonged to her. She began sending the evidence. Inside the chamber, Grant moved closer to Roman. "You think giving Claire choices makes you different?" Roman said nothing. Grant continued. "You will return to command the moment this ends. You cannot help yourself. You believe love is another territory that should obey." Roman looked at him. "Then she will leave me." Grant waited. Roman's voice remained steady. "And she will be right." The answer unsettled Grant. Cole looked between them. "This is touching." Roman turned his attention to him. Cole smiled. "Did she tell you how long she waited for you?" Roman said nothing. "She listened for your cars every night." Roman's face remained still. Cole continued. Then she stopped. Claire heard him through the chamber speakers. Her hand froze over the keyboard. Cole looked pleased by Roman's silence. She became useful after that. Roman's eyes darkened. Claire spoke into his earpiece. "Do not." Roman heard her. Cole lifted the trigger. "She learned to sit at my table, learned to ask permission before leaving a room." Roman's hand moved slightly toward his coat. Claire repeated the word. "Roman." He stopped. Grant noticed. A faint smile returned. "She controls you now." Roman looked at him. "No." He lowered his hand. "I trust her." Grant's face hardened. In the basement, Noah reached the generator room. 2 Barrett soldiers guarded the door. He moved through the dark corridor and fired before they saw him. One fell. The other returned fire. A bullet struck the pipe beside Noah's head. Steam filled the hallway. Noah crossed the distance and drove the man into the wall. They struggled in the white cloud. The soldier reached for a knife. Noah trapped his wrist and struck him until the knife fell. Then he entered the generator room. A heavy machine vibrated at the center. Wires ran toward a metal control box mounted on the wall. 3 lights glowed, 1 green, 1 yellow, 1 red. Noah spoke into his phone. "I found it." Claire answered. "Do not touch anything yet." The men outside the security room fired through the glass. The first shot created a white fracture. The second opened a hole. Lucas returned fire through the opening. 1 attacker fell. The other dropped behind a desk. Claire studied the bomb circuit. "Roman, I need Cole's trigger active for 10 more seconds." Roman did not know what she planned. He trusted her. Cole's attention remained on him. Roman spoke. "Why did Grant choose you?" Cole smiled. "Because I understood appetite. No, because he needed someone willing to die for a share of my territory." Cole's expression tightened. Grant said, "Do not listen to him." Roman looked at Cole. "Grant arranged the Whitmore marriage. Chicago receives the ports. Barrett receives Newark contracts. What do you receive, South Jersey? South Jersey is already yours." "Philadelphia." Roman shook his head. "Grant cannot give you Philadelphia." Cole glanced at Grant. Roman saw the doubt. "He promised the same routes to the Barretts." "That is a lie. Ask him." Grant's voice sharpened. "Cole," Roman continued, "he does not need you after tonight. He needs your hand to release that trigger." Cole looked down at the device. Grant said Roman is delaying. Roman took another step. Cole raised the trigger toward him. "Stay back." Claire watched the signal strength increase as Cole moved. Now she told Noah. Noah pulled the yellow circuit. At the same moment, Claire activated a signal jammer through the courthouse network. Every monitor in the security room went black. Cole released the trigger. Nothing happened. For half a second, no one understood. Then Roman moved. He struck Cole's wrist. The trigger flew across the table. Cole drove his shoulder into Roman's chest. They fell against 2 chairs. Grant shouted to the Barrett soldiers. Gunfire erupted. The commission bosses dropped behind the table. Victor Marino reached beneath his chair and pulled a concealed pistol from a hidden compartment Claire had unlocked through the security system. He shot the nearest Barrett soldier. Daniel Ferris recovered another weapon. Noah's remaining soldier entered from the side corridor and fired into the room. Roman drove Cole against the table. Cole struck him across the jaw. Roman tasted blood. Cole reached for a knife inside his coat. Roman caught his wrist. They struggled inches from the fallen trigger. Grant moved toward the judge's private door. Roman saw him. Grant looked back once, then disappeared through the corridor. Claire restored the cameras. The main chamber feed returned. She saw Grant leaving. "I'm going after him." Lucas looked at her. "Roman said you stay here." Claire turned toward him. "Roman said you work with me." Lucas hesitated, then nodded. They entered the western corridor. Behind them, Cole drove the knife toward Roman's ribs. Roman twisted aside. The blade cut his coat. Roman struck Cole's wrist against the table until the knife fell. Cole punched him in the throat. Roman staggered. Cole reached for the trigger. Victor Marino kicked it away. "Finish your fight somewhere else." Roman grabbed Cole by the collar and slammed him against the stone wall. Cole smiled through blood. "You still think she wants you?" Roman struck him once, not from rage, to stop him speaking. Cole laughed. "That is the man she knows." Roman froze. The old instinct burned through him. Punish, silence, destroy. Claire's voice returned in his mind. "Do not make my pain into permission for your anger." Roman stepped back. Cole looked surprised. Roman called to Noah. "Take him alive." Noah entered from the lower hall. "The bombs are disabled." He restrained Cole. Roman looked toward the judge's corridor. Claire went after Grant. Noah's face changed. Roman ran. Claire followed Grant through a series of dark offices. The courthouse had become a maze of wood doors, narrow halls, and abandoned records rooms. She heard his footsteps ahead. Then they stopped. Claire entered the archive corridor. Rows of metal shelves stretched through the darkness. Grant stood near the center. His pistol was pointed at her. Lucas raised his weapon. Grant fired. The bullet struck Lucas in the shoulder. He fell behind a shelf. Claire moved toward him. Grant spoke. "Leave him." Claire kept her weapon aimed. "You planned the attack at the printing plant." "I planned many attacks. You planned my escape." "Yes." "Why allow me to reach the runway?" Grant smiled faintly. "Roman needed to see you. You wanted to destabilize him. I wanted to reveal him." Claire looked at the gun in his hand. "What did you think he would do? Choose you in front of Savannah. Break the Whitmore alliance publicly. Divide Chicago from New Jersey. Bring you inside his security perimeter. Follow the evidence to Elizabeth. Then die in the warehouse, or survive and become the man every family blamed." Claire stepped sideways. Grant adjusted his aim. "You did not expect him to listen to me." "No." The honesty sharpened his voice. "You changed the pattern." Claire looked toward the archive shelves. A control rail ran beneath them. The shelves were designed to move along tracks when a handle was released. Grant followed her gaze. "Do not." Claire stopped. He came closer. "You always believed Roman could become something better." "I believed he could choose. He chose power." "Yes." Grant's expression softened almost sadly. "And you returned anyway." "I returned for the truth." "You returned because some part of you still belongs to him." Claire's voice remained steady. "No part of me belongs to anyone." Grant laughed quietly. "That is what he will let you believe until the danger passes. Then I will leave." Grant's eyes narrowed. "You think he will allow that?" Claire looked at him. "He does not have to allow it." Grant's pistol remained fixed on her chest. "You see systems clearly, Claire. Better than Roman ever did. You should understand why I removed you. You were afraid. I was practical. You were afraid he would stop needing you." Grant's jaw tightened. Claire continued. "You built your life around being the only man who could interpret the world for him. Then I arrived and showed him another way to see. I gave him an empire. You gave him a room full of mirrors." Grant's expression hardened. "And what did you give him?" Claire placed one hand over her stomach. The chance to hear no footsteps sounded behind Grant. Roman entered the corridor. He saw the gun aimed at Claire. Grant turned slightly, keeping Claire in his line of fire. Roman raised his weapon. Grant moved behind Claire and pressed the pistol beneath her jaw. "Drop it!" Roman did not move. Grant pushed the barrel harder against Claire's skin. "Drop the gun." Roman lowered his weapon to the floor. Grant smiled, still predictable. Roman looked only at Claire. Her breathing remained controlled. Grant said, "You came into this building believing you had changed. Yet here you are giving up everything because someone placed her in front of you." Roman asked Claire, "What do you want me to do?" Grant froze. Claire looked at Roman. He was not asking how to save her. He was asking what she chose. She glanced toward the archive release beside her hand. "Trust me." Roman lowered his eyes once. Claire pulled the lever. The metal shelves moved. A heavy row rolled sideways and struck Grant's shoulder. His gun arm became trapped between two frames. He fired. The bullet struck the ceiling. Roman crossed the distance. He drove Grant against the shelves and forced the weapon from his hand. Grant reached toward his ankle. Claire kicked the second pistol away. Roman pinned him to the floor. Grant looked up at him. "Kill me." Roman's hand closed around Grant's throat. "Tell yourself the kingdom is clean." Roman stared at the man who had guided him since youth. Grant smiled through the pressure. "You want it. After Claire, after your men, after your father." Roman's grip tightened. Claire stepped closer. "Roman," he heard her. Grant whispered, "Do it." Roman released him. Grant coughed against the floor. Roman pulled his arms behind his back and bound his wrists. "No." Grant looked up. Roman's voice was cold. "You are going to explain every account, every message, every dead man, and every family you used. You think they will believe you?" Roman looked toward the camera mounted above the archive door. Claire had restored the feed. They heard enough. Noah arrived with 2 commission guards. Cole was restrained behind them. His face was bruised. Blood marked the corner of his mouth. When he saw Claire, he smiled. "You came back to him." Claire turned toward Cole. "I came back for the truth. You think he will change?" Claire stepped closer. "I expect nothing from him." Roman heard the words. He did not flinch. Claire continued, "That is why neither of you controls me." Cole looked at her stomach. Roman moved instinctively, then stopped. Claire noticed. She faced Cole without Roman between them. "You locked doors and called it protection," she said. "You watched me eat and called it kindness. You kept me alive because you thought fear would make me useful." Cole's smile weakened. "You were useful." Claire looked toward the commission guards. "So are the records I took from your house." She handed one of them the leather bag. "Every payment, every property, every man who disappeared after entering your organization." Cole's face changed. Claire did not ask Roman to punish him. She did not ask anyone to avenge her. She placed the evidence into a system larger than his control. The commission guards took Cole away. Grant followed. He stopped beside Roman. "You will build another version of me." Roman looked at him. "Not if I stop needing one man to tell me what is true." Grant glanced toward Claire. "She will never forgive you." Roman answered quietly. "That is hers to decide." Grant was taken down the corridor. The chamber had fallen silent by the time Roman and Claire returned. Broken chairs covered the floor. Smoke drifted near the ceiling. 2 Barrett soldiers lay dead. Several others knelt under guard. The commission bosses remained behind the long table. Victor Marino looked at Roman. "You brought a pregnant woman into a building filled with explosives," Claire answered before Roman could. "He did not bring me." Victor looked at her. "I came because I chose to." Daniel Ferris held a tablet containing the files Savannah had transmitted. "These reports show Mercer redirected intelligence for years." Roman nodded. "They also show decisions made under my authority." Victor studied him. "You want us to believe you were manipulated? I was." Roman looked across the room. "That does not erase what I chose." Grant's confession played through the courthouse speakers. Claire had saved the archive audio. His voice filled the chamber. "I gave you evidence." Roman's reply followed. "You forged it." Then Grant again. "I placed a choice in front of you. You chose your kingdom. No one spoke when the recording ended." Roman looked toward Ferris. "I ended our alliance based on information Grant controlled." He looked toward Marino. "I redirected shipments that exposed your northern routes, then toward the remaining bosses. I condemned Claire Bennett without verifying the evidence against her. I gave her 1 hour to leave New Jersey and made it impossible for anyone to shelter her. Claire stood several feet away. Roman did not look at her while speaking. The confession was not for her forgiveness. It was a statement of fact. Victor asked, "Why should you remain in power?" Roman looked around the chamber. "You should not trust me because I survived tonight." He gestured toward the evidence. "Judge me by what I change after it." Daniel Ferris leaned back. "And if the commission removes you?" Roman looked at Claire, then at the ruined courtroom. "I will accept the consequence." A distant siren rose outside, then another. Savannah entered through the side corridor with Rachel. Her father's private guard followed behind her. Savannah looked at the 6 bosses. "My father has received the evidence. Chicago did not authorize this attack." Victor asked, "Did Chicago know Mercer arranged the marriage?" "My father believed Roman requested it. Roman said, I believed Malcolm Whitmore requested it." Savannah looked toward him. "The marriage agreement is void." The room turned toward Roman. He nodded. "Yes." One of the bosses asked, "You understand the political cost?" Roman answered, "Yes." Savannah's gaze remained on him. There was no gratitude in her expression, only recognition that he had finally named the arrangement for what it was. Rachel moved toward Claire. "You need to sit." Claire shook her head. "I am fine." Rachel touched her arm. "No, you are not." Claire took 1 step. Pain seized her body. She stopped. Roman turned. Claire pressed both hands against the edge of the table. Her face lost its color. "Claire." She tried to breathe through it. The pressure sharpened. Roman crossed the room but stopped before touching her. "What do you need?" Claire looked at Rachel. Rachel was already checking her pulse. "How long?" Rachel asked. Claire struggled to answer. "Since the tunnel." Roman's expression changed. "You said it passed. It did." Another pain moved through her. She bent forward. Rachel looked down. Then she saw water spreading across the courthouse floor beneath Claire. Her voice became calm and urgent. Her water broke. The chamber disappeared around Roman. The bosses, the guns, the empire. None of it remained. Only Claire. Only the child. Roman looked at Rachel. "She is 7 weeks early." "I know." Claire gripped the table. Roman held out his hand. He did not take hers. He waited. Claire looked at him through the pain. Then she placed her hand in his. Roman closed his fingers around it carefully. Rachel called for a vehicle. Noah moved toward the doors. Claire looked up at Roman. Fear had replaced every wall in her eyes. "Do not let them take her from me." Roman leaned closer. "No one decides anything without you." Another contraction tore through her. She tightened her grip on his hand. Roman supported her as they moved toward the exit, not carrying her, not commanding her, walking beside her while the courthouse alarms echoed through the stone halls. Behind them, Grant Mercer's empire of secrets collapsed beneath recorded truth. Ahead, beyond the courthouse doors, an ambulance waited beneath the red lights. Claire took 1 more step. Then her knees gave way. Roman caught her before she struck the floor. This time, when he lifted her into his arms, she did not tell him to let go. She held his coat and whispered one name. "Lily." Roman looked down at her. "What, our daughter?" The ambulance doors opened. Roman carried Claire into the rain. For the first time that night, the most powerful man in New Jersey was no longer trying to save a kingdom. He was trying not to lose the 2 lives his kingdom had already cost him. The ambulance doors closed around them. Red light washed across Claire's face as the vehicle pulled away from the courthouse. Rachel worked beside her, checking the baby's heartbeat, while Roman sat near Claire's shoulder, holding the hand she had chosen to give him. Another contraction tightened through her body. Claire closed her eyes and gripped his fingers. "Stay with me." Roman leaned closer. "I am here." The words were simple, but this time they were not a promise about the future. They were true now. At St. Michael's Medical Center, doctors rushed Claire through a secured entrance. Roman followed until a nurse stopped him outside the operating room. "You need to wait here." Claire's hand slipped from his. Fear filled her eyes. Roman stepped toward the doorway. The nurse blocked him. Claire called his name. Roman looked past the nurse. "I am right outside." The doors closed. For the first time that night, Roman could do nothing. No orders could speed the doctors. No money could force Lily to breathe. No weapon could protect Claire from what her body was enduring. Roman stood beneath the hospital lights with blood on his shirt and rain drying on his coat. Noah arrived 20 minutes later. Grant is in commission custody. Cole, too. Roman did not look at him. Claire is in surgery. Noah stopped beside him. The families want a meeting. They can wait. They are asking who controls the organization. Roman stared at the operating room doors. No one controls this hallway. Noah understood. He sat across from Roman without another word. Nearly an hour passed before Rachel appeared. Her surgical gown was stained. Her face was tired. Roman stood. Claire stable. And the baby Rachel looked at him carefully. She is alive. She is small and she needs help breathing, but she is fighting. Roman lowered his head. His shoulders moved once. Rachel had never seen him cry before. He wiped his face and looked toward the doors. "Can I see them, Claire, first?" She led him into a private recovery room. Claire lay beneath a thin blanket, pale and exhausted. Machines measured every quiet change in her body. Roman approached the bed slowly. Her eyes opened. Lily alive. Claire's face broke. Roman took her hand. She is breathing with help. Rachel says she is fighting. Claire began to cry. Roman sat beside her. He did not tell her everything would be fine. He did not ask her to be strong. He remained there while she wept. Later, a nurse took them to the neonatal unit. Lily rested inside a clear incubator with wires across her tiny body. Her chest rose beneath the rhythm of a machine. Claire placed her palm against the glass. Roman stood behind her. "She is so small," Claire whispered. "She is here." Claire looked at him. Roman moved closer to the incubator. He placed one finger through the access opening. Lily's hand closed around it. Roman stopped breathing. Claire watched him. He looked less like a king beneath those hospital lights. He looked like a man meeting the consequence of every choice he had made. 3 days later, Savannah came to the hospital. Claire was sitting near Lily's incubator when Savannah entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "I was told hospital coffee is an act of violence," Savannah said. Claire accepted one. "That may be the first honest thing anyone has said this week." Savannah sat beside her. "My father has withdrawn from the marriage agreement. Roman already ended it. My father prefers to believe it was his decision." Claire looked through the glass at Lily. Men like that usually do. Savannah followed her gaze. "She is beautiful. She looks angry. She has good instincts." Claire smiled for the first time in days. Savannah lowered her voice. "Roman is meeting the commission this afternoon." Claire's smile faded. "What are they deciding, whether he keeps his position?" Claire looked toward the neonatal unit entrance. Roman had not asked her to attend. He had not asked her to defend him. That mattered. Inside a private conference room across the city, Roman stood before the commission without Grant beside him. For years, Grant had prepared every document and answered every difficult question before Roman needed to speak. Now Roman placed the files on the table himself. Grant controlled intelligence, financial access, and internal discipline, he said. No single advisor will hold those powers again. Victor Marino studied him. "You are changing the structure." "Yes." "Because Claire Bennett demanded it?" "No." Roman looked around the table. "Because the structure failed." Daniel Ferris opened one of the files. "You are restoring the accounts seized from her, with interest. And the people punished for helping her, their names will be cleared." Victor leaned back. "You understand that admitting these failures weakens you." Roman met his eyes. "Hiding them would make me Grant. The commission voted before sunset." Roman kept his position, but the empire he returned to was no longer the same one he had ruled. Financial records were divided between independent offices. Security reports required verification from multiple sources. No accusation could be judged by one man's evidence. Grant's name was removed from every company property and account he had controlled. Cole Maddox's records exposed enough bodies payments and political connections to destroy what remained of his organization. None of it returned the months Claire had lost. Roman understood that. 2 weeks later, Lily breathed without the machine. Claire stood beside the incubator while Roman watched from the doorway. The doctor removed the final tube. Lily released a small cry. Claire laughed through tears. Roman lowered his head. That sound meant more to him than every oath of loyalty he had ever received. When Claire was discharged, Roman arranged a protected house near the Hudson River. He gave her the address, but not the keys. "The house is yours," he said. Claire looked at the folder in his hand. "No guards inside. No cameras, no men reporting my movements to you." Roman held her gaze. "None." She accepted the folder. "And you, I will not come unless you ask." The words hurt him. Claire saw that they did. She also saw that he meant them. Months passed. Lily grew stronger. Roman visited when Claire invited him. Sometimes he held his daughter for an hour while Claire slept. Sometimes he sat at the kitchen table while Lily cried and neither of them knew what she needed. There were no grand promises, no sudden forgiveness, only small moments. Roman learning how to warm a bottle, Claire allowing him to walk Lily through the garden, Roman leaving when Claire said she needed space. One evening he stood on the porch after bringing Lily home from a medical appointment. Claire opened the door. "You can stay for dinner." Roman looked at her. "Are you sure?" "Yes." He entered carefully. Lily slept in Claire's arms. Roman placed his coat over a chair. Claire watched him move through the quiet house. "You are different here," she said. Roman looked toward her. "I am trying to be, I know." It was not forgiveness, but it was not nothing. They sat across from each other at the kitchen table while evening light moved across the river. Lily woke and began to cry. Roman stood. Claire handed their daughter to him. He held Lily against his chest until her breathing softened. Claire watched them in silence. Roman looked down at the child who had survived the kingdom built around him. Then he looked at the woman who had survived him. Claire did not promise to return. Roman did not ask her to. He simply remained where she had allowed him to stand, beside her.